Hey everyone, welcome back to another wonderful worm weekend. Today we're going to take a look at our first worm bin. Every other week we swap back, so we check on each one every 2 weeks. So this week we're back on worm bin 1, and let's just see what's going on. As a reminder, this one, the worms are just very active and they just eat everything I give them. So I've been working extra hard to gather stuff all week in order to try to keep them properly fed. So we'll see how we did this week. This week we got a watermelon. So we're gonna feed that to them, and we got a few other things. We went apple picking, so we got some apple skins and apple cores. We'll give that to them too. And so, as always, we'll start by harvesting a little bit of worm castings. They got the light stuff here on the top. Hopefully we can get some of that out without disturbing them too much. Oh, there's a lot of worms in. There's some worms in here. I'll have to come in and pick a few out. That's unfortunate. We just have so many worms in this bin. It can be hard not to grab them wherever you go. Actually, there's too many worms. I'm gonna leave them there. I'm just gonna stick to harvesting the stuff over to the side because there's not worms over there. So we'll just do plan B. And then I just harvest the stuff near the top of the finished castings that are a little bit, the stuff near the top that is a little bit drier. Because the stuff, when it gets a little bit further down, a little bit wetter, we got a higher worm density down there. So I don't want to do as much to depopulate, although at this point I could. If anything, I have too many worms in here. Having a hard time keeping up. So, as always, you know the drill. We're going to go in and we're going to fluff up all of the entire bin just to get some nice oxygen down there so we can promote the growth of the oxygen-loving bacteria. Those are the ones we like to promote. Those are the good bacteria we want to grow in our garden, and we want to feed our worms. So we come down here, we check on that. We can also keep an eye out for any other potential issues. I don't have any holes in the bottom of my bin just because it sits on my back porch and I don't want worm stuff draining everywhere. So I also check on like the moisture level. The moisture level on this one's feeling really good. Okay, now that I'm in the middle of the worm bin and there's, a bit more food here, you can see there's also a lot more worms here. So that's the whole point. Feed on one side, harvest on the other side. That way you're never harvesting too many of your worms. Most of your worms are staying where the food is, and that's on the other side from where you're harvesting. So it looks like they got all the food in here. There's just like worms, cardboard, and castings, all that's left. Ooh, look, here's a little bit of melon left over. You can see it takes some longest to get through the seeds. I just like seeing how I put stuff in here and like 2 to 4 weeks later it's just gone. It's so cool. And then I'm not selling these or anything. Oh, look at that. I mean, there's so many different sizes and ages of worms. I do have a mixture of more heat-loving African night crawlers along with the red wigglers. So the African night crawlers get a little bit bigger. I'm just in a warm area, so it makes sense. But those little worms are just babies. Yeah, it's a very, very healthy bin. It doesn't smell gross at all. It smells like a wet forest floor. It's just wonderful. What do we got here? I think it's a carrot. So I'm gonna break that apart. The outside rotted, so I'm gonna break some of that off so the inside can start rotting. They can work on that. Okay, let's get into where we fed. Where we fed last time. We'll do that next. All right. I like to pull this up in one big chunk because there's so many worms. That way I'm not hurting them. And then I can let it fall apart a little bit more slowly as I look through. Look at these, they're big, big healthy worms here. Oh, we'd love to see that. Okay, yeah, we got a little bit of stuff that's not 100% broken down, but here you can see the skin of some of the gourds I fed it last time. They like to eat all the flesh out, and they leave just the skin behind. That's the last thing that breaks down. Look at that. It's more worms than anything else. So it's no wonder what I feed them is gone. I've got probably somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds of worms in here. And so they can easily eat that much. Yeah, all I see is, I don't even see that many that much cardboard left over. They're mostly going through all that too. Usually I see almost all of that, but I see some, but like a lot of it's gone too. And I mean, when you have just like balls of worms everywhere, they'll go through it, which is what we're going for here. All right, last flip. Oh, look at that. Wow. Like it's just like the ground is alive kind of thing. It feels amazing when you dig your hands through there. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is like, it's like a worm ball. It's like almost 100% worms right here. Look at that. Wow. It's just, as I just go through, it's just all worms living their slimy little worm life. All right, look at that. Wow, I think that might be the biggest one I've ever found. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm gonna take all the stuff that I fed last week. That is now the middle section of my worm bed. So I'm gonna make this new section over here. This is gonna be my new feeder section. So I'm gonna start with a bunch of cardboard. I got a lot. We've got cardboard. There's some mixed up newspaper in here. I'm just gonna add a whole lot. I'm adding a lot of food this time. I'm adding a lot of food with a high water content, both watermelon peel and go ahead. And I'm gonna add a bunch of apple cores and apple skins. And so I want enough of the dry newspaper to go ahead and absorb all that to counteract all the moisture I'm adding in, just to keep the overall moisture level about right. And just because I have so many worms, it's sort of just like a backup food source. It's great to have. Let's add in some eggshells, just to help with them digest their food a little bit. I've noticed ever since I started adding ground up eggshells, and people have pointed out I could do a better job grinding it up. I'm still trying to source a coffee grinder for that. But ever since I added these in there, they've been much better at going through what I've been giving them, simply because, you know, they have an easier time. And then, you know, when I have stuff like this, you can break it up just to give them easier access to it, just because I want them eating it. I don't want it rotting. All right, let's go ahead here. Let's mix that in just a little bit so they can have, you don't want too much of the food just stacked on top of itself. You want it accessible from 360 degrees as these worms go boring through. Here's some of that watermelon I told you about. This I'm going to put on the top just because it's easy access. They can go down, and then the apple skins. So we just got a whole lot this week. I'm going to take some of the old stuff with the worms in it and put it on top so they can dive straight down and get to work. The volume of this has easily doubled since I opened up the container, 10 minutes ago, and it's going to be way back down to where it was by the time I check on it next week. Just because they're just eating and decomposing so much of it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if you wait it to the end of the video, double thank you. Have a great week, everybody.